now we'll recognize Mr. Armstrong. For, oh, excuse me, Miss. Harshbarger's next. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
My pleasure.
This will go to Mr. Bazell or Mr. Shapiro. I live in a very rural district in East Tennessee, and not every road's going to be mapped. You can go down a long driveway, long driveways, and it will require the same precision that's required for an autonomous vehicle to operate on the road. And I know there's been tremendous strides in preparing the technology for urban areas, but we can't forget about rural America. What's being done to ensure that the people that live in East Tennessee will be able to reap the same benefits of autonomous vehicles that they do in urban areas?
Well, thank you for the question. Right now, there are over 80 companies in 30 different states that are already operating, already testing, already developing. That needs to be 50 states, and it needs to be everywhere. And the benefits need to be available to everybody. The way to do that is to expand the opportunity to test and deploy across the country. That is what Chairman Lotta's bill does, and it's also what Congresswoman Dingell's bill does. That's the fastest way to get there, is to allow the companies to safely and carefully expand. That's going to allow more use cases. It's going to allow more opportunities in places like your district.
Okay.
I would agree with that. And although I said before I love Congressman Lotta's bill, I'd love it more if it had greater exemptions in it, because if you want to scale up, you want to get into the rural community, you want to get out there, you need to be able to have a commercially viable product.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, sir. Are you doing anything in rural areas like Tennessee or across Tennessee?
There are tests happening and different use cases being explored, whether it's getting people to health care or moving people to shopping and those types of things. There is no question that we need more of that. And as I said, the fastest way to get more of that is to allow companies to scale.
Okay. Mr. Riccobono, would you like to comment on the need for access to transportation in rural parts of our country, sir?
Well, sure. I mean, disability is not geographically bound, right? So,
Right.
The thing about disability is it can happen to any of us, and so, a lot of times when people experience disabilities, they're living in the community they were in when they acquired that disability, and so the need for transportation, reliable transportation, is emergent when it happens. So making sure that this technology is available in all communities, including rural communities, is important because, especially when people have acquired disabilities, they're not in a position to move to a different location to continue their life. So having this available and not be geographically bound is really critical to truly making sure that we can all benefit from the technology.
Well, I appreciate that answer, and I guess we'll be looking at exemptions, gentlemen. Thank you. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.